Yo, and welcome to the 8th episode of Lake of Rage, a Pokemon trading card game podcast. I am your host, as always, Kevin Clementi, aka Mellow_Magikarp, and I am joined today by two very special temporary guest hosts. Rejoining us from last week, actually, is Grant, aka Boo CK.
What up, Mellow? Glad to be back.
And we have a special guest for this week. We have Ethan, aka Hegster TCG.
Thanks, Mello, for having me on. How's everyone doing?
So the plan for today, we are going to get to know Hegster a little bit more with some of those rapid fire questions, a little bit of speed dating, if you will. We're going to give a short little interview, get to know again a little more about the man behind the tournaments. We've all played in a Hegster, but what is a Hegster? We are going to talk about PC4. Several of us have played Players Cup 4. We've been watching it, watching streamers. So we're going to get into some of that information. And then, of course, some questions from Twitch chat. As always, we are live on twitch.tv/mellow_Magikarp. So, guys, how's your week been? How have you been doing?
I'm good.
Just been vibing?
Yeah, can't complain.
Yo, let's go. What about you, Ethan?
It's been all right. We'll get into PC4 keys. That's its own issue. But besides that, it's been pretty chill. But it's that time of year, so
That's probably why
things get hectic.
It's probably why my week's going good because I haven't played.
Because you haven't touched them yet. I wish I haven't touched mine.
See, that's the real play. Anytime someone asks what's the play, just don't. It's not worth it.
Can't flop an event if you don't show up.
Yo, now we talking. Anyway, let's not depress everyone about the Players Cup immediately. We'll get there, I promise. But let's go ahead and get into the speed dating. So you said you saw the episode with Azul, so you're kind of familiar with the idea. But these are going to be a series of rapid fire questions. You'll have 60 seconds to answer them as fast as you can. Just whatever the first thing that comes to your head is. These are all typical questions that you would ask someone on a first date, in the same way you'd ask on a first date, as quickly as possible. I really hope that no one who's ever listened to me say that is actually like, yeah, that's how a date should go. All right. So you'll have 60 seconds. Are you ready?
I'm prepared.
All right. Question number 1. TV or movies?
TV.
Favorite cartoon?
Tom and Jerry.
Sandals or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Last song you listened to?
Jeez. God, I'm gonna sound like a weeb. It was Haruka Mirai by God, I forget what it was. Some Black Clover opening.
Favorite Pokemon generation?
Gen 4.
Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
Beg forgiveness.
If you could beat anyone in the TCG, who would it be?
Rudy Wade.
Favorite deck of all time?
Buzzrock.
Least favorite food?
Beans.
If you're a gym leader, what type would you specialize in?
Fighting.
And that is time.
Let's go.
I was not expecting favorite cartoon to stump you so much.
That was tough, yeah.
I don't know, man. I haven't watched cartoons in years, dude.
What?
So I was thinking back to like my childhood of like, what have I watched? I mean, like everyone's watched Tom and Jerry. I'm trying to think. Maybe Johnny Test. I don't even know, man. That's a classic one too.
You should have said favorite anime.
Oh, then I
Okay, so we're gonna get a ton of hate mail for this, but would you not? So if someone asks your favorite cartoon, are you not allowed to say an anime?
I don't think so. I wouldn't. I would just answer something else because I feel like, well, if we're talking about like on dates, like that's like one of the things you got to be careful about, right? Is do you bring that up, right? So if like a female asked me like cartoon or what, I would probably just say some English cartoon. I would not jump down that rabbit hole right off the bat. That is like every other question. She's done, uninterested.
No, because that's an important part. Like I ask it because then if they like anime too, we're good. See, I made the mistake though. I brought that up somewhat early. My wife actually likes anime, and I'm an e-girl, So it's like it went terribly, terribly wrong. Where it's like, yeah, I like One Piece and Dragon Ball Z, and she's like, awesome. I like obscure things, and it's like,
Just things you don't
oops.
know. Yeah.
Like, well, okay then. Okay. I also would have gone wrong because I would have accepted an anime for favorite cartoon. So
Favorite anime.
also stumping.
Well, I have like my top 3. I can give you my top 3.
Let's
Yeah,
hear
go
it.
for it.
All right, it's Code Geass, Hunter x Hunter, and then probably Your Lie in April because that show makes me cry every time I watch it. So
There you had it, chat. Go wild.
As long
Go
as
wild.
so since we're in the Hegster interview portion anyway, what is your opinion on Sword Art Online?
Jeez, man. Gonna make me spread hate today, bro. Violence is about to be spread today.
I can say
Jeez,
my
man.
opinion first if you want, so people can
Just
hate
go
me.
ahead, just so I have a baseline of like.
I hate Sword Art
what I'm
Online.
working.
I thought it was going to be the coolest thing in the world when I read the like synopsis of it. Like, this is so good, and then it was just like, oh wait, whatever they did with it was so bad. I wish it was good.
The only praise I will give that show is it has you for like the first 6 episodes
Yes.
through like the main story, and then they're like, "All right, we wrap it up. All is good." And then they're like, "Yeah, we're going to Elf World," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll drop the show. We'll go to something else." Surprisingly, I went through 2 seasons because I was optimistic. It was like one of the first shows that I watched, and geez, that set the bar really, really low for me. So I always knew there will always be better shows than Sword Art.
Okay, good. We're on the same page there.
Yeah. I thought when you said let me share my opinion first, you're about to go like, I love Sword Art Online. I wanted to just know where I was at, so I could tone it down.
No, there's literally no gotcha questions. B, people disagreeing with me is just a part of the brand now. Like anything I say, people will disagree with me on. It never fails.
Well, because you're usually wrong.
Yeah. Well,
What?
that too, yeah.
It's not my fault eggs are terrible and that Al Pacino's not in good movies. Those are just things. See?
Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with boo here. Let's just move on.
All right, so we're gonna get to know you a little bit better, and I want to get to know you as a player a little more. So we know the Hegster. I think everyone listening to this pod, if they found me, they definitely know the Hegster tournament. I've probably played in one for sure. But you're not. Well, you are a Hegster, I guess. I'm not sure. Where did the name come from? I'm pretty sure you've said this before, but I actually don't know.
So my last name is Hegyi, Hegyi. It's really weird. It's Hegyi, but I think like my Instagram handle back in like, when I was like in 5th grade or something was like the Hegster or something like that. So I kind of just like stuck with it for a while, and like it has a nice ring to it. And then as it started through, I was just like, all right, we're gonna keep it. And then like kind of on that question again, I like maybe as a follow up, like a lot of people or no one really asks, but sometimes like the name Top Deck Tournaments, like where the heck did that come from? Essentially, like the whole backstory to like Hegster tournaments was it was like after the Limitless series, right? So there were like no main tournaments, and we were like, we're gonna play a tournament tonight. We were just like, there's no tournaments, so we're just gonna run one. And then I think I just like lost to my opponent, like top decking off stamp to 1 or something. So then I was like, all right, we're naming a top deck tournament, and stuck.
That's a good name though. Like that's definitely one of those things. Like, yeah, like Top Deck is a good. It's like Top Cut, but not. And that was already just like it has just a legendary connotation with it. So
Yeah, that's how it is.
I like that. Did you play in the Limitless stuff?
Yeah, I did play in the Limitless stuff to start out.
How'd they go for you?
Jeez, I'm trying to think. I missed the first one. Played the second one. I played Pidgey Control. I went like 1-2 drop because I hit like all the ADPs, and somehow the article was like, "Yeah, you can beat Oranguru," and I was like, "Okay." And then no, the conclusion is you cannot beat
Oranguru
when they're going Intrepid and then primating every turn. It does not work that way.
I learned the way to lose that matchup as ADP is I prized both waters. That was a very successful way for me to lose in the Limitless Q1.
Yeah,
Do it.
you definitely can do that. Or if you just hit hammer on their water turn one and they prize the other one. Because everyone was playing like 2 water back then. So it was
Oh yeah.
it's really sketchy, yeah. And
Uh,
then the last one, I think I also missed like 3. So I think I played in like half of them. And the last one, I think I played ADP, and then like my it was like winning into day 2, but again it was like bare minimum. So like it was like my dad's birthday the following day too, so I was like considering even like playing in day 2, like let alone.
Yeah.
And then hit ADP mirror, whiffed alter for 2 turns, and then like the final turn of the game, I was just playing to my outs, right? Because it's winning in, just seeing if my opponent brings the right things up off of like Fiona and stuff like that. And then my opponent in game chat started like messaging me like you have no outs, concede and stuff like that. I was like, Jesus, man! Like, you don't have to be so rude about it. I like wanted to report him or something. I was just like, all right, just take the win, man. And then I think he went like 0-2 drop day 2 or something like that. So karma got him. But
that is an interesting, like the way the community has like changed the way that we can report stuff, like with the limitless chat versus it was Smash GG, right?
yeah, Smash GG, I think for the first one. Yeah, it was Smash GG. They did hand resistance. They literally did hand pair resistance for that event. I do not know why they used that platform, but if it worked for them, it worked for them.
It barely worked. I just don't think there was a better choice.
I mean, we had I think Battlefly existed during then.
Oh,
I used
Was it-
Battlefly for like before Limitless.
Well, what was the first one that crashed? And
that
then they
must have been
switched to the other
Battlefy,
one.
right?
Yeah, no. They used
might have been
Battlefly
Smash.
first. Yeah, they used Battlefly first.
Yeah.
It crashed, and then they switched over to Smash GG. But then Battlefly just worked fine the rest of the time. Like it never crashed after that. They just got really unlucky when they used that platform, and they didn't want to go back to it.
If I remember, we were happening at the same time as a massive like Smash tournament, and so it was like 1,000 from us, but like 3,000 from them. Just crashed the server.
It was like Smasher VG. It was one of those two, I think.
Yeah.
So
I remember waking up because those things started at like 5 or 6 a.m. my time. And I was like, that first one, and it crashed. And I was like, I hate this. This is terrible. Why am I bothering to play Pokemon anymore? And then thankfully I woke up for the rest, but it was like
that's why I didn't play in the first one. Like after I played in the one that crashed, and then I just didn't play in the one after that. I was like, let me wait this one out. Like I'm definitely not gonna push for like the invitation or anything. And I was like, all right, if this one like works, then I'll play in the second one, and it did. So decided I'll play the second one.
fair. I can't blame anyone for doing that. So you played before online though. How long have you been playing the game?
Casually since like Ancient Origins, 2015, I think. Yeah, 2015.
Okay. So what was good then? Or how casual were you? Were you just like, I'm bringing binder drop, or okay.
Like my first tournament I went to, I think was Cities. It was like 2015 Cities when Ancient Origins was legal. And I walked in there. I thought I was gonna crush the place. I brought Sceptile Ariados. So for those of you guys who don't know what that deck is, it's Sceptile. I think for 2 grass hits like 60, and then if the active is poisoned, it hits 140.
Yo.
So it's not bad. And then the Ariados for stage 1 poisons both active except for grass. So the whole plan was to like attach, build up your board, and then you Sceptile 140, and that was really good back then, right? You're hitting most stage 1, stage 2s, and then shining. But the problem was I had no shaman, so that was definitely hard. And but like that meta was actually cool. It was like Mega Mewtwo Y was like a thing back then. Mm-hmm. Vespiquen obviously came out during that one. That was really cool. It wasn't bad, but I definitely like got put in my place right away after getting smacked around in that tournament. And then like the next pre-release, I like kids wanted to like trade for shamans, and back then shaman was like $60. Mm-hmm. So shaman was like expensive, and I think I traded like I didn't purposely scam, but it was like $20 worth of stuff for shamans. So I was essentially getting like 3 times my value when I was trading for shamans. And
how
like,
old were you when you were scamming like this?
Jeez, man.
We'll find out if it's acceptable or not.
13 maybe.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm not like scamming little kids, man. I'm like 17, man. Man.
No, there's always that awkward line where you're just like, well, this is a good trade for me when you're young too. Because I played other card games back as a child, and it was like, hey, this is a good trade for me, and they want to do it. Why wouldn't I do it? It's just like that moral compass changes so much. So
Yeah,
I can't say I haven't done the exact same thing.
I think it was Breakpoint. It was like Breakpoint like after release or something, I think. Because like everyone wanted to trade for Breakpoint stuff because it was like the new thing. Like obviously, how like prices skyrocket for like pre-releases. I think it was that, but
so
yeah,
it's like now too.
I wouldn't play. Yeah. Well, now obviously with scalpers and everything, obviously everything is
that too.
through the roof. Yeah.
Because I remember second pre-release, whatever. I pulled a Rainbow Rare Greninja GX, and I was like into competitive enough where I'm like, this card sucks. But because the value was so high, people were willing to pay the TCG player price, and I'm like, heck yeah, like you take it from me, please. This thing's not worth $80, like at all. Yeah, so
you got 80 for that?
80.
I think it was like 65 because it wasn't the actual like. Yeah, it was so stupid because Greninja is like a favorite Pokemon of people and Rainbow Rare. It was so stupid.
So how competitive were you back then and until like this point before up to Limitless?
So not very competitive 2015. Like I think my bar mitzvah was during states and I wanted to go to states, but I couldn't because it was like on that weekend. It's like I didn't play in like any regionals during that like 2015, 2016 season. But I decided the one trip I would take was to go to nationals. So I went to nationals and I bought all the cards for Trevenant Break. I was going to play Trevenant Break for nationals because I thought that deck was really good. It had a good matchup spread, yada, yada. So I brought it in there with the list was atrociously bad. It was like the Bursting Balloons variant. It wasn't even like the red card variant. That was like much better for that event because the red card item block was disgustingly good for that event. And it was like too Wally too. It was such a bad list. But again, it was like me as a senior, right? So again, got beat. But I had a fun time like that weekend. All the big events, right? And like getting exposed to that was like something that definitely drove me to like play more. So then 2016, 2017 season, it was like the same thing. I think I went to like one regionals. That was my bubble regionals where I bubbled out of top 32 by like 0.05 or something like that percent. Something like super, super like minimal, but that year was good too. And then I went to internationals again, and that was 2017. So I played SB Garb with 3 VS Seeker. I don't know why I cut my 4 Seeker, but I played 3 VS Seeker. I think I 60 with a person who got top 4 at that event in seniors. But again, it was fun. I was my first experience though with cheating in the event, where I played against someone like round 3. Or it happened 2 instances of cheating actually. And like this was like new for me, right? Because I'm just used to playing locals and stuff. So this is where I kind of got exposed to like that side of the game where I had an opponent who was playing with like the internationals mat, like the whole package, like has the sleeves, internationals mat. And I don't even know how I can like demonstrate this for anyone on stream, but they were shuffling where like they were just like not even like riffle shuffling at all, or not even like mashing. They were just like really normally shuffling, and I said, "Hey."
So wait, is this like? So I think I've seen people do this. They like instead of like riffle shuffling, they have their cards. They just kind of like gently place the 2 stacks alternatively in there. They're like, here's a little bit of this one, here's a little bit of that one.
It's vague because it's like 4 years ago at this point. But all I know is it wasn't sufficient whatsoever for organization. So I told him like, "Hey, is there a way you can riffle or randomize this deck better?" And he said, "Oh, they're my friends' cards. I don't want to damage them." Like the old classic, that one. And then like got proceeded to like end him into like DC. We're playing SB Garb Mirror, so he like end him into like DCE Choice Band, like Lysander, like all this stuff. And then at the end of there, like I popped off on him when I like lost the set like 2-1 or whatever. I was like, "Bro, the hell are you cheating for?" I was like, "Stop doing this stuff. Like I'm gonna call a judge on you next time," or something like that. And then I had like another one, which was like double winning into day 2 for that event, where I was playing against Zoroark Break. That was a really cool deck. I think I played that for like side events the following day and went like 12-1 with it or something. Racked up those side event tickets.
All foul play is so fun.
Oh, with Rampa too, it was such a good deck for that event.
Ooh.
It was really good. I think it got second in seniors that year. And then obviously Mahone, I think top 8'd with it as well at that event. So but I went to I think I divided. So I went to place divide counters, and they were like damage counters from the Maxi or the Team Magma hidden base on his Pokemon, and he went with his hand and he hit it and he changed the number on it. So then I divide GX and I looked over at his board. I said, your damage counters aren't correct. And then there was like a 40-minute judge dispute. We were like the only people playing. It was like a 40-minute judge dispute. And then I won the game. I did the divide. I won the game. We went to game 3, and then I was 1 turn away from winning because they didn't give us a full time extension. And I was like, well, great. I tied, and I lost to Passimian. And then that was my year. And then like a person from Malaysia, I lost to like Passimian, man. It was bad. But I think I like forgot what Garb did, dude. I was pretty tilted after that. But then came like my bad.
No, I was gonna say losing to Passimian would tilt me regardless.
Yeah,
like,
I think like the round before had tilted me, and then that just tilted me even more. All right, I'm gonna play Zoro Trampa, and that made my whole entire weekend. Didn't even care about flopping the event or whatever. Just Zoroark did better, and then Bob is obviously happy in chat.
Yeah, waiting for that.
I said the funny word for him. He is he's happy now. But 2018 was the year where I decided to pretty much go full for my invite and start playing. And like I remember going to my parents and saying like, hey, it's my last year in seniors. I want to try for this, right? I like to go to regional events. And they're like, well, we don't know how many regionals we can take you to. And I was like, all right, that's reasonable. They're like, we can try to support you in the local grind. And then that was where I like started to finally like win cups and find traction. And I think my first cup win was with like this concoction creation that me and my friend Gabe Shimway made, where it was like Drampa Garb with like Coco and Ultra Necrozma. So you would like spread and then hit hard with Drampa, and then you would de-evolve with Espeon EX and then take multiple prizes.
Yep.
And I remember just like that was like the first time where I was like, okay, I can do this. And then that format was really good. I enjoyed playing that format. And then pretty much my year came down to my last regionals. I need the top 32. And that was when I was like full-time playing Buzzrock, because that deck just worked with me and I just started rolling cups and stuff with it.
The deck's so much fun.
And it was like, that was the first time where it was like true pressure in the game, I guess, when you feel regional, because like I needed to at least 32 the event, or else I wasn't on track, because I didn't get 2 cup wins my first quarter. I got like 82 points from cups first, and that's just when challenges didn't give you points either. So it was just cups. No one went to challenges. So it was like 82, 90, and then 100 third quarter. But I needed to still get the regional placement.
Yeah.
Because like my first 2 were top 64s at regionals.
Was this like 400 points for seniors invite?
Yeah, it was 400 for this. So, and then I played Buzzrock, and then I got it. Like I got the top 32 to get in, and then that was like a big weight off my shoulder for getting the invite. And then coming up on Worlds, like just stuck with Buzzrock, and then I lost my winning into top. I just kind of was throughout the season just expected to just play to like qualify. I didn't even like think beyond Worlds. So that was like a really cool experience, like testing for Worlds and playing for things. And I don't know how I got through day 1, but I somehow finessed myself through day 1 somehow. And then a fun fact is I almost pulled the trigger and played Sylveon for day 2. Because I thought that deck was really good. And as I was talking to my friend, I was like, this is really good. He's like, but do you know how to play the deck? I was like, well, we can worry about that later, right? And then he was like, if you don't know how to play it, just play Buzzrock. So I stuck with my comfort pick and pretty much came down to winning it for top 16, like my last round, and I hit Frogs.
Winnable, technically.
It's not good, man. I had the chance to donk game 1, and then like I prized a float and then whiffed the float and then proceeded to whiff float off my Remoraid, because you need to like play aggressive in that matchup.
Oh yeah. And
I just whiffed it for 4 turns, and I look at his board and he's got like 2 breaks set up, the Starmie. He goes like counter catcher, enhanced ham. I was just all right, cool.
Just give him the scoop
and then
there.
Got rolled in 2 games, but I mean it was still a top 64 finish at my first World Championships for like my first year actually playing the game. And I kind of just like continued that momentum into Philly regionals, which is like the first regionals when I was a master. So like I was a master now, and everyone told me like, yeah, it's going to be really rough. And so I wasn't expecting it to be like all like flowers and rainbows and stuff going into masters, because especially at like regional events, it's really hard to do well. And that was the first event where they did the 6-2-1 or better into day 2 instead of cutting to top 32.
Yep.
So when I played in that, I played Buzzguard for that event. Because I love Baby Buzzwole. My worlds list was like quad Baby Buzz.
Yep.
Because that card was disgustingly good.
I love that card.
And my list, like if you look at my limitless list for that event, it is the worst Buzzguard list anyone played to that event. And I somehow finished top 16. I was like 7-1, and I finished top 16. I lost my top 8 to Lysandre Labs because I forgot what Lysandre Labs did.
Yeah.
I had the guard, choice band, everything in hand, and then I was like extended my hand. He's like, "Are you announcing the attack?" I'm like, "It's knockout." He's like, "Are you announcing the attack?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." Trash Lynch, and he's like, "Nope." And it was like turn 3 of time. It was turn 3 of time or turn 2 of time, and I just like took my head back and I was like, there is no way. And like I looked through the deck after that, and I was like, I like Nestball failed and biked, and then like off the bike would have been the shrine that I needed. And I was so mad. I think that's where I started molding, honestly, because from that event itself. But
I'm currently looking at the list. I don't hate it for being like a new tournament because Philly was one of the first ones that, right?
Yeah.
I'll post it in chat too. But like, you got the 2/2 smooth over line. That's good.
Double
stuff.
Macargo is cracked. Especially when you establish it, so cracked. And Zudo Udo is disgusting for that event because there are way too many Zoro Rock.
And I really like the 2 of Acrobike. That's how you consistency.
I played 2 Lily for that event. I don't know why I didn't especially with Double Macargo. But 4 Cynthia was like the best card in my deck, regardless. And then like however many Switch I played too, like
2 Switch.
Like it was like some lists just were playing only Guzma or like 1 Switch or something. Double Switch was so cracked for that event. It was so good. But I think the funniest thing for that entire list is like my fighting count. Isn't like 5 fighting or something like that?
You have 5 fighting, 4 rainbows,
5
and
fighting,
a beast
4
energy.
rainbow and beast.
This man ain't whiffing a single energy.
I did not whiff energy that event. I definitely did not whiff energy that event.
But that feels like something that I've never heard anyone talk about. Like you top 16 your very first Masters regional. That's impressive.
Yeah, I was 7-1-1 going into day 2. And my only loss was to Gedimer, who won that event. And it was mirror, and I got destroyed because obviously as a first year master, I'm never winning that mirror because that mirror is one of my favorite mirrors to play. Like I think I played Lee in like an Undaunted thing after, and like it reminded me that mirror is like one of the most fun mirrors to play.
He also had the Weavile in there, which was
Weavile was good for that event. It was
surprise.
Worse in mirror. Yeah, it was worse in mirror, but it was still good. So.
Oh, and the judge. Sorry, I'm looking back. I loved Buzzgarb as well.
Yeah, no, Buzzgarb is one of my favorite archetypes. I think it's like my second favorite. I'm obviously biased based on like performance and stuff like that, but at the same time, like it was like one of the most fun I had at an event. Just playing the deck, I felt good with it.
So were you like how competitive were you this past not 2 years? God, right before the pandemic. Were you just kind of like, I'm focusing on school, I'm focusing on that kind of stuff? Or were you like, I'm going for a Worlds invite? Like, because like obviously it takes a lot of money in Masters to actually travel.
Yeah.
Well, depending where you live and all that kind of stuff. But it's not free. It takes time. So like, I don't know, where were you at with that kind of stuff?
Just like to put everything in perspective, like after Philly regionals, like going along like the train of events, I went into Woods my first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there to boarding school, and I just pretty much dropped out of that season. And I didn't play another event until I went to Worlds 2019 to play in the Open.
Yeah.
And flopped with Mally because that was when
Mally
was not refined whatsoever and super inconsistent.
How is a Buzzwole player gonna bring Mally?
Dark side.
I transferred over. I couldn't play Buzzwole anymore, man. I started molding.
That's true. Let's not talk about that Open though. I was
Yeah.
went away from day 2ing Worlds, and then I go to the Open and I just get bodied, and I'm like, the frick? Like I was bodying the best players in the world, and now I'm over here just like I can't beat little Jimmy and his Malamar deck.
What did you play?
Peak
Did you play Peak? Yeah.
Oh heck yeah.
I shouldn't even have asked. I like said it and I was like, yeah, definitely Peak.
Oh, it's
I don't
always
even know
Peak.
why I asked. So then from there, like when I went back and was like transitioning through like boarding school and stuff, I missed the first full quarter of of the first season, but that was when they started to do it where it was 8 best finishers for the year.
Ooh, just
So had it just been regular, I wouldn't have gone for my invite. There's no way missing a full quarter that I get my invite for that. But I went back second quarter and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grind. So like I would take visits home from Utah, where I'm at boarding school now, and where I was in the past, and I would like play in challenges because I just wanted to grind challenges out of the way because I knew like when I moved back fully, which I was preparing to do, that I would be just grinding cups as much as possible. And then I got back to cups and I just started tearing cups up. And second quarter, I think I finished like 60th in NA or something, like for second quarter for going to no regionals. No regionals. I finished like 60th in NA.
Let's go.
I think I won and then I think I won the last cup before COVID ended with Mewtwo Mally. And then
God, that deck was broken too.
That deck was so bad though. I remember me and
that's the only time Malamar's ever been good.
Okay. I would agree with that. I would agree with that if we want to call it good. But my thought process behind it was me and Rudy, who we both did each other in finals, playing mirror essentially, were like solitaring the deck before the event, and we just looked at each other and we're like, this deck is so bad or whatever. I like beat an ADP my first round of that cup because they altered for first effect.
What?
They didn't alter for full effect, and I was like, okay, and I like somehow won that round or something. But like I think I finished, and then I went to 1 regionals that year, but like before COVID, I finished with 389 CP for playing a quarter in 2 weeks or whatever. I think is what I played for that, and I think I won like 3 cups or something. I didn't even max my cups out. I think I had 2 more cups in clean, I think, something like that. So like I did really well before the pandemic, and I was like rolling, and then COVID hit, and then it all went downhill from there. But it was but that's sort of my rundown history of pre-COVID Pokemon, so to say.
That was a heck of
a roadblock. Yeah, to be on such a tear to just have it ripped away like that.
Yeah, especially coming off of like a cup win, I was like, the next cup going to be, right? I'm maxing out because I was like 111 points away from qualifying. I had at minimum I was going to Albany regionals, and then I think one more possibly besides that, and then internats if need be. So like I was pretty much like locked in because at worst I definitely felt confident enough to like 128 internats, and that gives like 100 something points in itself. It's free farming essentially if you just play something consistent. What was that format? I probably would have just played ADP for that event, honestly. But
that was the
had I gone
format. What? Ultra Prism to Darkness Ablaze?
Oh, that would have been.
I mean, ADP was good.
No. Darkness Ablaze wouldn't have been legal for that,
or not.
Dark. It was internats, so it would have been
Dragapult,
Rebel Clash.
Rebel Clash.
Yeah. I don't know what I would have played. That just makes me sad.
Still peak.
Still peak.
The answer is always peak.
Yeah. But yeah, that was. I mean, it was tough. It sucked, but things happen, right? So you have to move on from it.
I mean, the cool thing, gosh, I really hope that they let the points roll over, so it just make everyone's life so much easier. Just be like, all right, I got some stuff. And for new people like Grant, it doesn't affect you whether we start at 0 or 389.
It does.
I think like
an uphill battle. Like if you already make it, you should have to like sit out. Like I should play in a different division.
No, see, that's fine.
Let me get some points.
If I get to keep my points, I ain't gonna play you, so you're fine.
Yeah.
It's a win-win, really.
Yeah, I think like the only problem with that necessarily is then you get like the top 16 sweaters who will already have their invite and stuff, and then start playing to win cups to secure stipends. So that's where things get tough. But like, I have a theory that that play will start next March, where we like stopped essentially. And then at that point in the year, they'll keep thresholds somewhat similar. So like 500 will be, because remember before they canceled Worlds, they announced the Thursday, Friday, Saturday format.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, essentially, right? Sunday finals or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think they may do that with like 500 being the Friday or whatever, but it's too much to look in at this point. It's making my head hurt. So.
Oh yeah,
forgot about that.
There's no reason to talk about the hypotheticals though. I'd be lying if that idea hasn't also crossed my mind of like, well, what if they just bring us back when they cut us off, and kind of a smooth transition, although a lot of people don't want to hear that because that's a long way away.
2 years late, baby.
Right? They're never going to
almost been 2 years already. Oh my god.
right?
I gotta think they're gonna get us back going sooner than that, to be honest.
September if
I
we're
hope so.
optimistic.
Yeah.
But I don't know with Pokemon at this point. They canceled Worlds so early compared to like
Mhm.
everyone else, which I mean, to be fair, like Worlds would not be happening. Like it's
God,
it's
no.
it's not gonna happen, but like them canceling that far in advance was a little like I don't know.
Hopefully good stuff happens. So
Yeah.
we transition into online. You bit off a lot. I'm one of the most loudest, whatever. I'm not an English teacher. I'm one of the loudest people to say I hate online tournaments and how long they take. I can only imagine how much time you spent all the time running 3 days a week at one point. Like,
Oh, it was more than that. I think there was a week where I ran 5 events once.
what was going through your mind when you're like, this is a good idea?
The only reason, or the main reason I started the Hegster series was for that exact, because events took too long. I didn't want to sit down and play. I think I didn't want to sit down and play a tournament and wait like 15 minutes in between rounds because I would rather sit and play something else and grind. Like I mean, there weren't that many options, right? So I decided from players, right? Who what better people to run events than actual players who know what to expect in events? I'm not qualified. I'm not judge certified, right? I just turned 18. I can't be a judge. I'm not a judge. But I definitely know the basics of judging, right? I have experience in the game. I know like what a tournament should look like, right? That instead of waiting for time to finish, we should just pair rounds right away. And I just pretty much like developed optimizing it as much as possible. So that like we were running cup events at one point in like 5 hours with top 8 cut. Something like ridiculous like that. Where we just pretty much optimized it over and over again to the point where it was just people would play the events because they were smooth. Not because our prize pool was incredible, right? We were always entry, like pay entry into the events and get whatever the prize pool is out, right? I mean, at one point, I remember Boo contacted me about, I think you sponsored one Hegster event. And fun fact, Boo actually commented a Hegster with.
Yeah, I remember that.
Let's go.
That was a time. I think that I remember. Yeah, that was a good event though. I actually remember that one. But like we'd have the occasional sponsors, but people would just play because the events were fast. And it was fun though, but that was the main reason, right? It was just because they were slow. And I was like, I'm not enjoying the format that much. Like I'm not like feeling like grinding all these online events. So I would rather provide to everyone, so to say, than start playing in a whole bunch of stuff.
Do you have any interest in becoming a professor or TO or anything like that? Now that you can, technically.
No. No. No, I don't. I feel like they're definitely underappreciated, right? And like I definitely like appreciated some like the bigger TOs in the game, like Will Post and some of those other people who are like local to me who had been like running, and like a lot of credit for them. But at the same time, like I would rather play personally. I would rather play or I'd rather commentate would be like the two top things. And like I just don't really find as much enjoyment like in judging, so to say. But that's just me personally. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, you got your taste of commenting, but like I was saying earlier, like you were on a tear there. You really haven't got to see your full playing career even pan out yet. So which would it be if you got to choose one?
Probably commentating because it pays. Probably because it would be like
$250 for a top 32.
That's true, right? I can buy my hotel and have my expenses unpaid for, right? And then show up and work all day and get paid $250.
Yeah.
Walk away naked. I mean, I definitely enjoy the game more than I would say. It's close to commentated, but I definitely enjoy playing more. But like as things are getting like more realistic, I guess, as like things keep progressing for me, I think that's like makes the most sense. And like, I mean, I'm on track to possibly do that, right? Like I'm a commentator for Pokemon now, which is kind of cool. So
And I think we'd all agree that you did a great job.
Oh, 100% agree. Yeah. You
could tell it was
one of my favorite parts is you could tell that you played the game. And it's not like obviously, you know, Chip and everyone else who's currently doing it does, but TPCI commentators have historically had the occasional person who's like, I don't feel like you haven't touched the game in a while. And I don't know, you were really strong. And that was clearly one of the strong suits of like, you knew what you were talking about, which felt really good.
Yeah, I try to bring like that style into play-by-play. What does the people need to know necessarily, right? So like I could just specifically talk about everything that's happening on the board, or I can explain like why necessarily they're doing like what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the main points like I try to bring across that was prize checking, thinning, and sequencing. But I didn't want to like explain like everything like flat out, but like just these are why people are doing things. Like this is important things because the big thing about Pokemon streams, I mean, for finals day, we had like 28,000 people watching at one point.
Yes.
28,000 people watching the Pokemon trading card game online. Like that was crazy. So like for all those people who are getting exposed to it, right? Like having some idea where like the biggest thing I would get from like, and it sounds like a little weird, like when like my family members watch when I commentate stuff. And like my like parents and my grandparents who have no clue anything about the game watch it. And that was a big thing. They're like, we understand nothing you're saying, but it's fun, right? We like seeing you. And I kind of was like, what if I can like find that balance between the two? And then like started getting messaging from people of like, I want to start learning the game now. And like, I think like one of my grandparents was like, I looked into the game and learned how to play it or something like that. Geez, that's like, so that's a step in the improvement, right? We need a well, we can't do anything above, I would say senior for seniors. We don't have a division for like 50 plus or something like that. That would be an awesome division to watch. I would definitely to commentate that. They just like extend the play clock to like 30 seconds in action or something like that for the players as they're like handwriting their prize cards down or something like that.
We've had some of our local Poke parents have talked about like, why isn't there a senior citizen? And it's like, hey, y'all ain't senior citizens, but if there is like a Poke parent division, that would actually be kind of interesting to see because they're good.
I would want to see finals streamed, but yeah, I would pay to see finals streamed,
right? Because they bring jank. Any Poke parent you've ever played against, you don't know what's in their deck.
I was lost to Poke parent at a cup. That's like probably one of the more embarrassing things out of like all. It's like when you play against Poke parent and they flip over like a Lowland Muck or something, or like a Lowland Grimer, and your hand like it was like an expanded cup, and I was playing Zoroark, and I got a Zoroark hand, and like I just passed and like put my hands over my head as like round one of a cup. I'm like, there is no way I'm losing. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. It's like it's not happening.
No, I will say your skill early on commentating was pretty good. Like you could tell like what you're saying where you're trying to educate and inform. Like you'd say he's looking for this because it hits this, which will do this. Like you could, that was like a very experienced and probably from your experience of casting all the Hegster events, right?
Yeah, I think had like I not casted the Hegster events, I would be nowhere near suited for like how I performed essentially commentating. I mean, like I looked back, like I think I was like in my Google Drive looking through like my really bad Players Cup 4 key spreadsheet, and I found a video that was an unreleased video because I used Filmora to edit, and it had like the sample text like thing on it that was like, this is used from the free version of whatever program. So I was like, I'm not uploading this, and I looked at like how I did the videos and stuff, and like I'm quiet, I'm not really talking about my plays, and like I even look back on like older VODs, and that's kind of like how I think like I gained the experience over time with like commentating to be able to perform that way and improve to do that level. Had I not done the Hegster series, one, I don't think Pokemon would have ever contacted me anyways to commentate. But two, I think that's definitely like the reason I guess they felt confident enough to bring me on and have me cast.
How did they contact you? Like, what did they say? Was there like an interview process? Did you send them a reel or did they contact you out of the blue?
I can only talk about so much because of NDAs.
Fair.
But pretty much it was the best birthday present I think I had because I got an email from the streaming director on my birthday. So as soon as I turned 18 and they contacted and they were like, hey, we have a special super offer. Can you sign this NDA before we proceed any further? I'm like, it's definitely PC3 commentary. It's definitely PC3 commentary. And then I got the email, we want you to commentate PC3. And I was like, this is okay. It's happening.
Yo. They were sitting there waiting for your birthday to send you that.
That's what it felt like. It was like on my birthday, I got like a PM from Chip, and he was like, "Hey, DC, the head streamer director wants to contact you. He needs an email to send something to you." was like, this is happening.
Like,
Could not do anything in school that day. That was me just refreshing the Gmail inbox over and over again until we finally get there. Yeah, it was great though.
I hope you get it again. You were a good team with Chip.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, even if I don't, I mean, I want to commentate PC4 now because I'm flopping my keys. But
You got keys
like
left. You got keys left.
Putting that aside, like I would rather not commentate any more online events to then be able to commentate an IRL event back, because like Chip was explaining to me and he was like, it's so much fun, and I'm like, I just seems so fun to just like walk around and just be dripped out and in the suit and stuff, and that seems just like a something that I would enjoy a lot. So I'm hoping that's the case, right? But I'm part of the caster team now, so I'm officially part of the caster team. So
are you planning at all, like once stuff comes back, to try any grassroots IRL stuff, or are you just like trying, I don't know, like are you planning any of that kind of stuff where it's like maybe you cast a local cup, you got the Twitch channel, you got the video, you got the mic, or you just want to like focus on the big stuff? Because it's a lot of work to run it, obviously.
Yeah, like the schooling stuff right now is like a bunch of the blur with like finishing high school even and like getting the credits. Like I don't know exactly what route, like graduation stuff is essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But like whether or not I graduate, like necessarily, like I'm looking into like going into like a commentating school in New York City and pursuing that for broadcasting and stuff. Because it's something I enjoy, right? And like tonight, like my event I'm going to like a local Smash scene to play Smash Brothers, not because I'm good at the game, but because I enjoy commentating. I go there just to commentate around. When I go there, I go O2 drop and I just commentate for like an hour.
Yo, let's go.
and then I'm all good. So like that's the main thing. It's just like trying to find something, and that seems like a good start to be able to support myself. But like that's a whole other piece with like school and those complications. But regardless, like trying to just like put myself on a path to do something that I can enjoy, and then also make money off of. Obviously, like I need to support myself somehow. So.
I absolutely love that. Just like, because that's not like a traditional school route, right? Like you don't go to high school and you're like, I get to take a broadcasting class. Like that's not a real thing. But you found like not only something you're passionate, something you're like naturally good at. I mean, obviously you've reviewed yourself and all that kind of stuff, and you're just like, I'm good at this. I enjoy this. Let's see what I can do with it. I think that would be dope, especially if you can do other games and whatnot.
Yeah, it definitely is like a lot weirder. Like when I was commentating other, like I it wasn't like the same stuff necessarily with like feeling like at my comfortable style, I guess, for commentating Pokemon. When it was like, it's like I just didn't feel as comfortable. But I think that's like something that comes with time, like getting more familiar, which is why I'm trying to like immerse myself in more games that I would like see myself casting, rather than just like sticking super like zoned into just Pokemon itself commentating.
There's only so many regionals, but you gotta fill in the other weekends.
Hey, Worlds is the dream, man. Worlds is the dream.
Put it on the calendar, on the dream board.
On the dream board, the bucket list.
The comment in Azul's chat last night was he worked hard, went to school, works a job at a hospital while Azul's playing Pokemon. It's like follow your dreams, do what you like, and just grind as hard as you can at it. And it sounds like you found your path here, what you really want to do.
Yeah, it seems good.
You mentioned you're failing at your PC4 keys. Do we want to
move into that?
Yeah, I do want to cover that.
I dare pull the spreadsheet up. I'll do
it.
So let's so Grant, you haven't used any, but you watch streamers who do.
Yeah.
So absolutely. You've got an idea. I've used a whole 7 keys, which God, I hate using these keys so much. I'm proud of myself for using 7 already. And
well, I think yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to lead into probably the question you're going to answer, so you go for it.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is we've seen a drop off in Urshi, because of the heightened Mew 3 play. Even when Urshi plays all these techs, the Jirachi, the Marsha, or the Mimikyu with the Goon Ping.
Yep.
You can even play, if you don't play the Jirachi, you can play a Power Plant. And So you're seeing a return of a lot of good decks like E-Turn, peek and play, ADP, just a lot of the standards. But we saw yesterday when Azul was doing his testing that something versatile like the Tempo Zard gives you a lot of options against every deck. I think that's probably the best route right now, especially like Luke Metal's been seeing a ton of play.
I've seen a lot more Luke Metal, especially watching Pedro this morning. He ran into a bunch. I ran into quite a few last time too. Which makes sense. Luke Metal's very good right now. And so I can see why there's less Urshi. Because it can beat Luke Metal. God, you got to be a good Urshifu player and probably play a Phoebe to stand a chance in that matchup. And let's be honest, most people, including myself, aren't good Urshifu players. So it's not a matchup you want to hit. What are your thoughts?
What yeah. What have you been playing?
I've been playing every deck known to man. I play a lot of Peak. I think my best
Yo.
conversion rate right now has been Peak. That's saying a lot for having 46 rep with 20 keys left.
Now that's doable. That's doable.
I think I have to average 3 for the rest of my events to get in. I'm at a 1.5 average right now.
60. No, you can average less than that. For what it's worth, and this is for all listeners too. Players Cup 2, I was about on the same track where Ethan was, where it was just like, I think I was a little over 1 point per key. I was like 1.2 maybe for the first 25. And then the last 25, I was like, all right, we just have to peak, all the time. And I ended up averaging almost 3 points per key. And I qualified ridiculously easily. So it's just like, it is super doable as someone who has done it to do the opposite. I didn't qualify in Players Cup 3. So sometimes that happens too. But it is very possible to average like a boss in those last handful of keys.
If you want to see some good salt, go back and watch some of Mello's VODs in that period towards the end where he's like, all right, screw it. Let's go back to what we know and go off. Because the breaking of Mello.
It was
if you want to see true salt, I didn't delete this VOD because I knew it'd be funny as heck afterwards. But the last VOD of me not playing Osu on stream is me hitting my desk so hard that my webcam like slowly fell back and like fell off on my table, and I just quit stream. I just like ended stream. I have to go back and watch that VOD. I'll post a clip of it. I'll post a clip of it on Twitter later.
Yeah, send that clip. Send it to Soda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna embarrass the heck out of myself. I think I was playing Aggro or something. The thing I hate about these is people just play the worst lists. But since I play around the most logical outs. So for an example, right? I'm playing Aggro, right? I'm playing Mithril Boom. And I pretty much played in my outs where my opponent power accelerators, and I go, okay, I have double boss in hand, right? So I knocked out their E-turn with Darkest Tornado, and then I boss up their E-turn with an energy on it, and I have a big turn on my Mewtwo. And my opponent has not played Ziggs. Their bench is pretty much full. And I'm like, okay, I should win here. And then I'm like, well, unless they play a one of Dangerous Drill. And he goes Marnie into Dangerous Drill Pokemon, bench Pokemon, and knocks out my other Mew3. And I go, okay, well, I lost for the sole purpose that I didn't play around that. I just didn't have it in the list. So, like, to put in perspective, like, gosh, I had a streak looking at my spreadsheet where I played 10 keys and I earned a whopping total of 1 rep.
Yeah,
this was in a row. This was in a row. I played peak to 0, Desi to 0, peak to 1, E-turn to 0. I think I was so raged. I have question marks for which deck I played for one of these. I don't even know what deck I played. ADP 0, ADP 0, Mad Party 0, and Peak 0.
Bro, that's when you have to stop.
I stopped, yeah. I came back the next day and I went 5-0-0-5-1, which was a total of 1.1 rep for those 10 keys, not including those ones before. But I mean, I have to sometimes remember that, like, even if I don't qualify for PC3, it's not the best representation of skill of what qualifies in for these. I guess that's an excuse to some extent, but also
yeah.
like
that's my excuse too.
Yeah.
No, I'll co-sign that excuse. Like, there are like, I don't know how Alex Szymanski does it. He's a god. I don't know. But like, as a whole, it's like, how do you go into an 8-person completely random tournament that's single elimination and not just get like, well, I'm gonna take the Elder Luke medal and I hit more Luke medal than everyone else. Like this.
Yeah, I queue in with E-turn. I hit Rapid Strike Urshifu. I queue in with it's just like that kind of like who gets lucky on queue essentially, and that's kind of like the problem I have with this format. I don't want to go on like a full rant, but it feels so much as of like there's been like I played in like a lot of formats through my time, through like a lot of expansions and a lot of sets. Mello, when did you start playing?
Ultra. What's the Malamar set?
Forbidden Light.
Either that one or Ultra Prism, whichever came first.
Yeah, so like there's been formats where there's been a lot more 50-50s necessarily.
Zoro.
But yeah. But
yeah, but there's not as many 50-50. Well, like there are. Like there's some 50-50 decks, but like Luke Metal, you're still like, hey, cool, a Victini that plays Fan of Waves. So there's literally no way for me to win.
Yeah, it just feels like more so like after the first turn for both players, I can 75% of the time tell who's going to win that match.
Yep.
And like that's just not fun for me. Like it's the same purpose of like if I know I'm going to lose, scoop and save myself time. I'm one of the players that will in IRL events I find myself playing to more outs. Mm-hmm. But in online events I have won games because I played to outs before instead of scooping early. But in online events, it's more of this format where I know I'm going to lose the game, like necessarily, rather than I'm playing out to my outs. It's like the extent where like if ADP Ultimate Rays off against Mad Party before you get a knockout, I just concede because there's no way I'm losing that game because they power up a Mawile and then power up a Zacian and I lose.
I've seen that a lot, like especially like with the Rapid Strike. Like the player against them, if they don't get a playoff in like the second or third turn and have to put Dede or Crobat down, they like always lose. If they hit into you and then you just see the Gust play for the 4 or 5 prizes, like it's always you see it over and over again.
Yep.
And I can only tell you that it's going to be worse after rotation because it is more circular. Like if you face this, it's an auto loss. If you face this, you win. There's no real interaction as much as you'd like.
Yeah, but the problem with that I have more so is like in the past, it's been auto losses or bad matchups due to certain factors like item block or like status conditions or other things. As I'm looking at Chilling Reign, auto losses aren't based on your deck being faster or slower. It's primarily weakness based.
Yep.
E-turn beats the chilling thing, right? It gets smacked by Urshi. E-turn gets smacked by Urshi.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Metal bodies those two decks, but gets smacked by Victini and other Zord things. And then Desi smacks everything, but gets beat by Phoebe. So now we're in a meta where most of those like main decks that we're going to see, it's all weakness-based for matchups.
Yeah.
When I flip over my basics, I know whether or not I'm most likely to win or lose that match.
It's a flowchart meta.
Yeah, it reminds me of, I don't think either of you guys played during this. It's not as weakness-based, but 2017, the beginning of 2017 after rotation, there was like one of the most like dynamic triangle metas we had for tier 1. So there were 3 main decks. It was Gardevoir GX.
Yep.
It was Volcanion. And then it was Metagross. And pretty much the triangle worked this way. Guardy beats Volk. Volk beats Metagross. Metagross beats Guardy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much how it worked, right? If Volk hits, that's pretty much how it worked, right? So those are the main decks you brought to event, and the event pretty much went. If you don't hit like the 2 Metagross in the field, then Guardy's the best play, right? But if you hit your Metagross, then the matchup is essentially unwinnable. Like you just don't lose that matchup. It's just kind of like that, right? Where it's less of that to an extreme, but that's another example. Actually, that is a weakness-based example. Correct me. That is a strict weakness-based example, right?
Well,
the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, because Volk is super effective against Metagross.
Yeah.
Well, that is the foundation of the game, right?
Bulbasaur,
Charmander, and Squirtle.
That's true. Yeah. It'd be nice if they went to, instead of, and I guess this isn't supposed to be a topic on card design, but instead of 2 times, do like a +20, +30 type thing.
Yeah.
Would feel.
They have +40. I remember +40 weakness back in Diamond Pearl era. Bring it back.
Right? That'd be
Bring
nice.
Back +40 weakness. I mean, it would do nothing nowadays.
Well, it'd have to be a pretty big number, but
+80 or something like that. Tackle for 90. something ridiculous. I think like if they did that, that would be flawed to an extent, right? And like card design obviously isn't perfect, but it's just a little fearful where like the meta is going to get even more polarizing, I guess, when it comes to like the matchup spread. To like what Boo was saying, right? Where like if they don't get specific things off, it turns, especially in poor matchups, that you can pretty much just know how it's going to go.
And the problem I see too is that no turn one supporter. So if you don't set up, and Marnie being the one of the two most played supporters, you get Marnied in a nothing, and it's just over. So it doesn't even matter if you had a chance in the game. If you don't get going first, your turn set up, you just get Marnied. I mean, it happens now still, right? I mean, you've been playing some Relish, so you know. If you whiff and you get Marnied, especially going first with the deck is terrible. But it's just going to become a problem. I think they should probably bring back turn one supporter and errata the Marnie saying you can't use it going first.
Honestly, I think this is a very bold claim, right? So no one come after my throat when I say this, but I think, especially post row, or even right now, well, obviously going to have to be post row, right? By the time the set's release, if they bring back weakness policy, I only see it helping the format. Sure. Because now you take matchups that are weakness dependent, and you give players a little bit more leeway. Right. The thing that was nice about matchups that were usually skewed based on stuff like abilities or things like attacks is there were cards in the format to play around it, right? The reason that Toad matchups got a lot better was because Ranger existed, right? Or that people would even to an extent play Marowak in their decks, got him going all the way back from Fates Collide that prevented effects on your Pokemon in your hand. Like people would specifically play those cards to get around the fact of it, right? But it's hard when our card pool is just, it feels so bland, I would say, to an extent, where there's not much counterplay in this game. It's kind of like each player wants to do their own thing, and whoever can do their own thing the fastest wins, if that makes sense.
I think weakness policy would be really good right now because you'd have Scrapper and Tool Jammer, right? And so if we're getting rid of Chaotic Swell, we're bringing back a Stadium War. Now you're bringing back, and you're making tools more interactive. And Scrapper becomes important. It's not a blower, but you know, you could scrapper your own stuff and use another tool.
Yeah.
We need like an adventure bag though, but
and then you have to decide that tools are fun because you have to decide, do I actually want to play Scrapper? Because like Scrapper is not a good card. It's purely a counterplay card. And even then it's like, well, I can't get rid of the Rusted Sword on the Zacian because they already KO'd me. So it's like, it's a really cool card to decide, do I play it or not? Because it's kind of a wasted deck slot, but also something like weakness policy, you might need it to turn a matchup into a winnable matchup.
Yeah, like that would be really cool to see like Calyrex versus Eternatus with weakness guard, right? Then does it come down to can they get the Horror House stuff off or Pale Mooning, right? Because now you can Pale Moon and not get return knocked out. So that would be really cool card design wise. But again, like speaking of like things that maybe need to come back as well as we're getting Power Plant for Rule Box Pokemon with no Swell in format and Greens as a card. It's really scary. It doesn't feel great.
I'm excited.
Especially when you can Greens under it, right? You can play your GX down with an ability, play the Stadium down, and then Greens. It's time, ladies. It's time for Greens Mewtwo. It's gonna happen. Greens Mewtwo, baby.
The legend it's existed that it could be done. But
it has existed. Greens Mewtwo.
I can't co-sign this.
I'm glad Sackett's not here because that would be his whole stream tomorrow.
Making Greens Mewtwo work in standard. Incredible. Oh, get the YouTubers out. They're all coming.
So let's get to some questions from chat because there's some good stuff. Some will be pretty quick answers. Some probably won't be. But H Crusader asks, is Flapple Rapid Strike Urshifu a viable deck?
No.
Yeah. Judging from the laughter, I think we all agree. No.
No.
Please delete the deck.
I mean, why? What would be the incentive of
I think the incentive is you go Flapple a Crobat, boss up at the Dene, and then Telescopic Sight, and you can pressure like take 4 prize turns or stuff. But that just feels so clunky.
So one, you probably need a Mawile in there too, then, because in the open deck list, nobody's gonna, you don't play it unless you have to. They'll see that play coming. And you have to have the tool, and I mean that's a lot.
Next question.
Yeah.
Pandage asks, do you prefer alternating between decks for your keys or stick to one throughout regardless of how they perform?
I always alternate because I'll lose to something like first round being hard tacked, and then I'll play the other thing, and then I guess that's not the best strategy.
Yeah, we
'cause
heard
then,
your
like,
10 games in a row there. It was a different deck every time.
with like a different deck, yeah. But I feel like sticking with the same thing, like I don't know. I like to vary it, right? Because I like to play more than one deck because I never see myself sitting down and queuing into the same deck 50 keys. That just feels like just I can't personally do that. Like I enjoy the game, but that would just tilt me so hard, especially like if I commit myself to sticking with a deck and then like go on like a streak, even with like 2 games, right? Where I get like 1 point or below, right? For like multiple sets like that just tilts me. So I change because I want to put myself in a better position control wise statistically, but it never works. So I don't know if you should take my advice on that.
I mean, I could sit down and I could play 50 keys with ADP, but that's that's just me.
Me and Mello out here
yeah.
just judging. Yeah.
I'd play Relish, but then my brain hurts. Like that's too much work.
I can't do 50 with one, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to play all 50 keys between Luke Metal and ADP. Or not gosh dang it, Boo.
Yes, he said it.
And
Clip.
Pikarom pretty consistently. It has to be.
Yeah,
I enjoy Pikarom. I
think
enjoy Luke
yeah.
Metal.
I could do Pikarom too, because that is an enjoyable deck to play. Like it's fun, interactive, at least to a degree. What
Yeah.
route do you take? How
Stamp
do you?
Paralyze is pretty interactive.
Well, that's the end of the game. You gotta get to that point first.
Slapjacks asks, gosh, Slap, this is a terrible question for a quick answer. So Slap asks, what changes are needed to make expanded playable? Don't play it. All right, next question. Now, what are the cards you'll miss the most after rotation?
Jeez.
ADP.
Yeah, ADP.
No.
Mello, you want to weigh in? Mello, you want to weigh in?
Greens. I love greens.
Yeah, Opal's the better greens. Let's be honest here.
I tried Opal ADP and I think I ended up 2 for 7 or 2 for 8 on Opal. No, it has to be 8 because there's 2 flips. 2 for 8 on Opal flips. I still won a lot because it's ADP, but it felt really bad.
Yeah, I like being serious. I think I'll naturally miss Dedenne. I'll miss the chunky rat, chunky
Really?
mouse. Yeah, I mean, like one of the things that makes Pokemon unique is the draw element of it, right? I feel like it'll be good for the game at the same time. I'll still miss it. Like I can still miss cards even if they're not the best, I guess, for the format sometimes. Like I mean, like I think besides that, I'm definitely happy Peak is rotating. Like I'm really happy Peak is rotating.
No.
That card has that card has always been dominant. It does not deserve to be dominant for over 2 years at this point. It does not deserve it. But
Sure. I'll agree.
But yeah, I mean, greens is another one. I think I'm gonna miss Garchomp and Giratina. I love that card.
Yeah. That's
that card. That card won me so many cups.
That's my favorite tag team.
Correct.
I thought that card was trash when it came out. I was wrong. I'm just bad at building decks. Card's so good.
I was a person who said Drampa GX was good whenever garbage, and then it just did well, and everyone was like, oh, Big Wheel GX, man. That's it.
I'll miss Tag Call. I think would probably be my actual choice. Tag Call, the Tag Call engine.
That's true. That's actually a really good one too. All right, Jade Best asks, which Galarian bird is the best of the
pull these up? I have not seen this. Oh, you mean card wise?
Yeah, card wise.
Oh.
So we have the Zapdos, which is essentially one-shot Eternatus for 1 energy. We have the Moltres, which has a dark patch to itself every turn. And we have Articuno, which is discard 2, draw 1 every turn.
Discard 2, draw 1?
Yeah, it's not it's not good. I mean, it might be good, but it's not good.
I think it could be good. I think it'll be too late. But I think we've missed, I've said it for a while, battle compressor type effect right away. Cinccino you have to evolve to get something in the discard. We have it with Meowth, I guess, or the Duskull or whatever the baby is. But something like that, and that actually has some utility in a deck. But I think the real answer is the Zapdos.
I like the Zapdos.
I think Zapdos, but I'm gonna have to go with Moltres here.
Oh,
how come?
I think this deck is really good in E-Turn. We saw it get top 8 at Japanese League. It performed well with Energy Switch. E-Turn's main problem, which is hammers, is now partially gone because you can get an E-Turn powered up in a single turn now.
True.
Moltres also hits like a tank. I think it does 190 as a two-prizer.
Oh,
let me read the text on it.
Yeah,
it does 190 and 30 to itself.
Wait, that's kind of good. Self-acceleration at 190?
Yeah, it's good. It's actually slept on. This card is slept on. So, it will see play in E-Turn, especially with E-Turn getting Umbreon as well, right? Umbreon releasing I think, this card's going to be really good. And especially with, like, Urshi's going to, like, naturally see less play when Calyrex comes out. That, like, I think, honestly, E-Turn is really good if you can play around, like, your other iffy, tough things. Moltres also is good because it gives you outs against Luke Metal, too, by the way. So it's also just a good card. So I'm going to say Moltres.
Evie asks a question specifically for Ethan. What was the funniest moment of your TO/judging career?
I have a few. I have one from really early on. This was like back when we had like 10 viewers doing like season 1 events and stuff like that. And we were like, this is when I commentated like 5 people in one stream with me essentially. And like all of a sudden, like people started making Twitch accounts and following that were like, I love Ethan Hegyi and stuff. Just like in my Twitch chat. And that was pretty funny. And then the other funny thing that happened was when I was out doing something and I came back and one of my TOs messaged me and said that players were playing rock, paper, scissors to determine win results. And I was like, we can't do that. We can't have that happen or something. But that was interesting to work with. But I mean, a lot of the stuff we do is like not crazy, but we definitely have fun things where we'll like go into a match and there will be like 4 judges that say like, what seems to be the issue here or whatever for people on admins. And then in the middle of people's games, we'll just start having a conversation in their Limitless match chat. And they seem pretty happy about it. They don't really mind. So.
Professor Poke asks, and I've got this one, don't worry. Control post rotation. No, control's bad until Sander makes it good.
I can second that. I'll stamp that.
We'd several people asked this, but Roy John was the first one to ask it. Why is there a broken door behind you?
The broken door, geez.
For those listening, he is currently getting the broken door. You can see this on the YouTube video.
Yes.
So like the backstory for this, I'm gonna like bring this over here, but the backstory for this door is like I'm like renting. I'm not even renting. Like I'm being loaned this office, and like there's just random doors in here. Like there's this door here, and then let me just try not to break something. But then like there's also just another door just chilling over here. This one's not even broken. This is like a full-fledged door. It's just chilling here.
What?
Like I don't know. I don't know why this room has broken doors. I guess like the kids at my boarding school just like to break shit. So I'm just gonna leave those both there now in the background. Like we have random things in here. There's like there's a billiards thing here, right? You can
Is there a pool table there?
We have a pool table here, yeah. But then like
at least it makes some sense.
There's a yoga mat in here. I don't know. This is just my life at this point. This is what happens. So now there's 2 doors here. There you go.
That was a top tier question.
Yeah.
It
needed to be asked.
It did need to be asked. I looked back on my camera and I was like, I definitely just have a door in my shot, don't I? I definitely just have a broken door in my shot. And I was like, yep. See how long that happened.
That was asked very early in the pod, so People have been fixated on it for like a while. Still,
I have a question. And I know Evie he wanted to talk about the format. You played in the Deck Wizard event. So did Mello. What'd you think of that?
bro, Pedro had a real deck. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm upset.
I got ear ringing bell. I got ear ringing bell in my deck. And that card did nothing because every deck I played against just had 4 switch in it for some reason.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Good for them, bad for you.
Switch is underrated. Like if you get given Switch, that's awesome. But like you really actually need it with the with the way the deck's set up.
Some people got actual decks, man. Like LBF got an actual deck.
Yeah, both Victini decks were good.
Victini was good, yeah.
Yeah, Flareon was good, but
no, that was trash. I 2-0'd him.
I got through losers, but I also beat a Maractus, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. The lock-in chat and got absolutely bodied.
I brought Coco VMAX. Things were feeling good. Azul unfortunately played 4 Malolanas, or got given 4, so that was an auto loss.
Gross.
What?
Yeah. And then Pedro teched a Bird Keeper for me. And this man hit Welder every single turn, except the one turn where he Bird Keepered. And it was just what?
We
Azul
never
also
had
got
a problem.
Lumberry, right? Azul also got Lumberry, right?
We
never had a problem getting Welder once with Senti.
That's not realistic. Why is this
happening?
I
know. You played Seni Volk, right?
Yeah.
I played Seni Flareon.
Yeah, Seni, we learned it's low maintenance. You just get the 2 energies on and it does its own thing at that point.
Yeah. Once you get a rolling those, it was busted, but
yeah. We lost to LDF and Pedro were our 2 losses. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
One question. Well, I'm gonna scam a few questions. Sorry if your question got scammed, but look, I appreciate everyone who asks questions. If you're ever interested, you can ask questions on the pod by being live on Twitch, or put them in the YouTube comment section, or an iTunes review that I'll figure out how to read those eventually. Like I said, I still haven't figured it out. So shout out to anyone who might have left us a review. Like, your boy don't use Apple stuff.
We have a 5-star ranking.
Yo, do we?
Should I throw shade at the Tangle right now?
Nah, we'll do that later.
Yeah.
we can throw more. They're so easy to throw shade at. I feel like we should at least take 1 week off. Speaking of which, shout out to Azul for getting 2nd place in the Glenwood Challenge. So Steuben asks, is a long one. Well, this question's short, but whatever. As a TO who has organized cups and cities and has judged at regionals and states, I feel like I've seen more people take player cup losses, misses more personal than events with championship points. There is much less on the line with Players' Cup event. So why does it seem to be more heated when it comes to results?
I think people just mauled because it's online. I think that's just the genuine reason. It's because with cups, you can just go to another cup the following weekend and just bounce back from it. But with Players' Cup, it's the only official TPCI event. So when you mauled, like if you throw over that, then you just kind of sit there and you really have nothing to play for. I mean, you can always play in the online events, right? But you have nothing to really play for.
I mean, the Hegsters
or
are gone,
Pokemon
so
itself.
why would you play an online event?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you play? But no.
I think that's that's a pretty good answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like my thought on it.
Yeah, there's something too about being online. Like, obviously, I agree 100%. I co-sign all of that. The fact there's nothing else to play for is just like more pressure. But I've been doing some IRL stuff. I've said this before. Look, I'm fully vaccinated, y'all. We're all masked up. There's 6 of us in the room. But losing, even when it's a win box, like I paid $10 to be there, as opposed to paying 0 for a Players' Cup key. I'm not tilted losing those games. I'm losing to a homie, even if they're not like a home. They're like, I've met them there. Like, we've talked, we've become friends. It's like, I'm losing this. I'm having fun. Like, it's a totally different vibe. PTCGO seems to take away the fun. Maybe because there's a real I'm sure the person across from me is a real person. Hard to tell sometimes because of the plays they make, but they're probably real. It feels different and disconnected, which makes me just get tilted so much more than I do IRL.
Mello just lording over his opponent, intimidating him. You can't do that online. You
Yeah,
do that, you start commenting, then you get called a troll and you get blasted on Twitter.
yeah. Like online play just made everyone so toxic in the game. We're just like, you would never say the stuff in game chat to your opponent over the thing. Like if I was at an IRL event and my opponent went stamp knockout to win the game, I would call a judge and call a judge on them for like excessive play or something. Like I don't F around with that. But there's nothing else I could do about that. But like online, it's like acceptable or whatever to like hit them with the extra energy or play that extra E power or whatever. When we had electro power in the format, where everyone would just dump their electro powers and then.
Yeah, you get back to IRL and you lay down GX boss and then say welcome to Pokemon. Yeah.
Or you gotta hit him with the welcome. Just you have a good deck. Every time they flip Hammer's Tails, you gotta say that to your opponent.
Mellow 34 BM.
Jeez,
I really want to say that.
IRL meta.
Let's see. There's a handful of questions still. Ooh, this is a good one. We won't go through all of the questions, but Insomniac asks, after London, where would you like to see Worlds held?
I need to think. I'm ready for you guys. Can go and answer first.
Japan. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go. Yes, sir.
All right. That's the plan. Worlds Japan, please.
That's it. Japan trip. I honestly, like, even if we don't have a Worlds in Japan, I am so down to like get a group of people who are like fully vaccinated, go to Japan. Like my dream trip to Japan is going to like Tokyo, going to a local card shop with like 5 people from the US, and then just laying down absolute hands to everyone there and just having them think that we're like the US players are godly, so that when they come to World Championships, they all fear for their lives.
And then they all clap us because they're actually very good.
Yeah, it's all just meta manip. It's literally just all meta manip, but IRL meta manip.
That'd be fun. I didn't get to go to any card shops when I was in Japan. My wife was just like, "No, let's go do real stuff." And I was like, "I can't. I respect that. Like that's fair."
How?
Shops
What?
look bonkers.
Because we had to go like way out of our way to actually find one. So I was like,
Oh, really?
we're already going to like 5 Pokemon centers on this trip. I'll accept no card shop.
That's why you got to go to Akihabara.
We did do there. They don't have as many card shops as you would think. I saw 2. I guess we did go to 1, but they were technically, we went because she wanted to get some mangas, and then one of the floors had cards. I was like, well, we're already here. Like, let's go see them.
Yeah, there's like, I think I did research once. There's like 4 card shops in Akihabara. That's not too many, but they're still decent.
It was fun. Highly suggest for anyone listening who hasn't been to Japan and would like to. It is very fun, very easy to get around too, which is important.
And worth a fortune.
Let's see. A wild drummer has appeared. Asks, would you guys be hesitant to play Eternatus for keys?
No.
I agree. No. I mean, it depends what hesitant means, I guess. And as long I'm like, you'll take some auto losses, but if you're like, I'm gonna play 50 keys of Eternatus, that's fine.
If you're lucky, play it. That's what I'll say. If you're unlucky like me and you hit Urshi every time you queue in, then I'd say see how long you can play hitting. I'd say see how long you can play without hitting auto losses, and then see if you can continuously play as you get paired into things that you just can't play the game against. That would be what I say. Because like I know me, if I like queue in 3 times and play against things I can't win, it's hard for me to just continuously sit and like throw money into the slot machine when I know I'm just going to lose it essentially.
Well, then you get up and the grandma walks up and pulls the slot and wins.
Exactly, that's what happens. Yeah,
that's why you got to keep running it.
Yeah, that's why I think hesitant would be if I'm going to run a deck like Eternatus, just keep running. Because otherwise you're going to run it 3 times, hit 3 Urshifus or like a Luke Metal where you prize your Phoebe, and you're just like the variance will equal out. As much as I don't believe that myself constantly, it makes sense. But yeah,
the next 3 will be binder drops.
Oh gosh, bro, I want binder drops. I've seen so many people tweeting out that they're playing its binder drop, and I'm just like,
where have you been?
Right? Like
I hit a true binder drop in a key.
Yo, like
a true binder drop. It was incredible. I could like identify every GX card was on the ladder at one point that they were using. it was great.
One full art boss and an Eldegoss.
PC3 Giovanni.
All right. So I think that's going to do it for today. Grant, where can the people find you?
At Real Boo CK on Twitter. We've been blowing up there. I've been trying to tweet some more. And then Boo_CK on the Twitch. And I sometimes stream.
Hegster, where can the people find you?
Twitter.com at HegsterTCG, twitch.tv/HegsterTCG. I'm also on Facebook if you want to go like the Facebook page. go like the Facebook page too, and tweet me all your bad lists so I can critique them.
Yo, you have more patience than I do.
Somewhat. I'll just mauled over. You can also just watch me against and lose to in events. And just random out my PC4 keys if you want to see how that turns out. You just follow me.
You can do it.
The final push.
I believe. And if we don't, that's all right. It's just PC4.
It's exactly like Steuben said. It's literally only because it's the only thing we got.
Yeah.
True.
And of course, you can find me Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at mellow_Magikarp. And this has been another episode of the Lake of Rage podcast. We will catch you all next week.